Hey everyone, and welcome back to The Explainer. So, in our last lesson, we explored one of the absolutely fundamental concepts in all of networking, which is IP addresses. We talked about how every single device connected to a network needs a unique IP address, kind of like a postal code, so that data can travel across the massive landscape of the internet. We looked at public and private IPs, IPv4 versus IPv6, and how routers use them to move data across incredibly long distances. But today, today we're going to set up an entirely new premise.
Now, you might be wondering about a really fascinating paradox here. If IP addresses already identify our devices and they handle global communication perfectly fine, then why on earth does networking require an entirely separate second address system for your local Wi-Fi or your office network? I mean, why does your laptop right now have both an IP address and something called a MAC address? What exactly happens when your computer just wants to talk to the printer sitting literally 3 feet away on the exact same network?
Okay, let's dive right into this. Here is our roadmap for today. We're going to start with 1. The local communication problem. Then we'll move to meet the MAC address, followed by 3. The ARP translation process. After that, we'll hit 4. Real-world network infrastructure, and wrap it all up with 5. The bigger picture.
All right, Section 1, the local communication problem, looking inside the network.
So, remember how we said IP addresses are absolutely brilliant for routing data across networks? They're great for that global, long-distance communication. But imagine you're connected to your home Wi-Fi, and you just want to send a document to your local printer or just talk to your home router. Inside this exact local network, IP addresses actually fall a bit short. Devices need a completely different identification system to physically talk to one another locally. To really get why this is, think about sending a package to a friend. The IP address is like the building address. It successfully gets the package routed through the whole city, right to the correct apartment building. But once the delivery driver steps inside the lobby, there are hundreds of identical doors. How do they know which exact door to knock on? Well, they need the apartment number, and that is your MAC address. The IP gets you to the general building, but the MAC helps identify the precise, exact physical device locally. They have to work together.
Moving right along to Section 2, meet the MAC address, your hardware identity.
Let's decode what this mysterious second address actually is and how it functions as your device's permanent hardware identity. MAC stands for Media Access Control. It's a unique hardware identifier assigned directly to a network device. And I really want to emphasize the word hardware here. Unlike an IP address, which, changes constantly depending on whether you're at a coffee shop or at your house, a MAC address is permanently tied to the physical network interface card of your device. It is literally the hardware identity of your machine.
Now, what's really interesting about this is what a MAC address actually looks like. It consists of 6 groups of hexadecimal numbers and letters, usually separated by colons. Under the hood, computers fundamentally store these MAC addresses in binary. But let's be real. Binary strings of ones and zeros are just way too long and completely unreadable for humans. So networking systems use this compact hexadecimal representation instead, using numbers and the letters A through F.
To put that into perspective, that hexadecimal string represents exactly 48 bits of data, and those 48 bits are highly structured. Hardware manufacturers, companies like Intel, Broadcom, or Realtek, assign these addresses right at the factory. The first half of that 48-bit address identifies the specific manufacturer, and the second half uniquely identifies your exact device. They do this to guarantee global uniqueness, ensuring no two devices will ever have a communication conflict on the same local network.
Okay, Section 3, the ARP translation process, bridging IP and MAC.
So we know what an IP address is, and we now know what a MAC address is. But how do these devices actually bridge the gap between that logical IP address and the physical MAC address? Well, they use a brilliant system called Address Resolution Protocol, or ARP. You can think of ARP as the ultimate translator inside your local network. When your laptop wants to talk to a local device, it already knows the destination's IP address. But to actually send the local signal, it has to discover the physical MAC address. ARP is the translator that seamlessly connects the two.
Let's walk through exactly how this happens, step by step. Picture this. You are trying to print a photo. Step 1. Your laptop already knows the printer's IP address. Step 2. The laptop literally shouts out an ARP request to the entire local network asking, "Hey, who owns this IP address?" Step 3. The printer hears this and goes, "Oh, that's me, and here's my MAC address." Step 4. Your laptop now packages the data using that physical MAC address and sends it on its way. And finally, Step 5. The printer receives the data perfectly. The craziest part? This entire translation and communication process happens in the background almost instantly. Next up, Section 4, Real-World Network Infrastructure, focusing on switches and security. Let's look at how these foundational concepts apply out there in the wild, in actual physical and wireless hardware deployments. It's actually a super common beginner mistake to think MAC addresses are only for wired Ethernet cables. But take a look at this list. Laptops, smartphones, smart TVs, Internet of Things devices, virtually every single network-capable device utilizes MAC addressing. Your Wi-Fi adapter has its own MAC address, and your wireless router relies on it constantly to track your wireless connection. And this brilliantly illustrates the concept at an enterprise scale. Think about an office network switch connecting 50 different computers. How in the world does the switch know where to forward all that continuous network traffic without getting completely confused? Well, it does it by constantly building internal MAC address tables. It records exactly which device's MAC address is plugged into which physical port on the switch. That allows it to efficiently and instantly route traffic directly to the correct destination, without blasting it out to everyone else. Now, because it is a hardware identity, cybersecurity teams and network admins heavily leverage MAC addresses. For example, they use MAC filtering to block unauthorized devices from joining an office Wi-Fi network, based purely on their hardware ID. They also have to constantly monitor for MAC spoofing, which is a technique where software is used to temporarily change a device's visible MAC identity, usually for testing or privacy. By monitoring these addresses, security systems can perform intrusion detection and endpoint monitoring, enforcing really strict network policies.
Which brings us to Section 5, the bigger picture. Let's connect it all together.
It is time to bring this all home and summarize this dual system architecture. The absolute core takeaway of today's explainer is comparing these two systems. The IP address is logical. It changes depending on the network you join, and it supports global communication across the internet. On the flip side, the MAC address is a hardware address. It is fixed to the physical interface card, and it is strictly used for local communication. They serve completely different purposes, but they are entirely collaborative. Now, you might be wondering, wait, what about the cloud? Well, even in highly advanced, virtualized, and AI-managed cloud environments using tools like Kubernetes or Docker, these concepts remain totally universal. Cloud infrastructure might abstract the physical hardware away from us, but it still utilizes virtual network interfaces and virtual MAC addresses to ensure software-defined networking functions properly. That underlying architecture, it never really goes away. So the crucial point is this: IP addresses and MAC addresses form a dual-layer foundation of networking architecture. Global communication and local communication require different systems that work seamlessly together. Understanding how they interact through protocols like ARP is absolutely essential if you want to pursue a career in networking, cybersecurity, systems engineering, or DevOps. If you master this dual-layer concept, you've essentially mastered the backbone of networking.
We literally covered a massive amount of ground today, from physical hardware identifiers to the way our routers and switches translate the world around us. But how does the data actually behave once it's on the move? Does it prioritize perfect, flawless accuracy or just blistering speed? And that leads us directly to a critical engineering question for our next explainer: TCP versus UDP explained, reliable versus fast communication. It's going to be a fantastic breakdown. Thank you so much for exploring this with me today. Keep asking great questions, and I will catch you in the next one.